Hi, it's Trista from Cooperatives First. The following webinar was recorded on November 25th, 2021. I am proud that I was able to speak with Tom Kerrivan of My Jasper Weddings Cooperative. Tom was able to provide insights on the formation of the co-op and how local vendors were able to work together to deliver stress-free and unforgettable weddings in the Jasper National Park. You're about to hear how, in the midst of the pandemic, these vendors found a common goal, worked together, and created the first of its kind wedding co-op. If you have any questions about this webinar or any of our upcoming webinars, please feel free to email me at trista@cooperativesfirst.com. If you'd like to join in any of our future discussions, please visit YourWayTogether.ca/webinars. I hope you enjoy.
So good afternoon. Thank you for attending our webinar for the Your Way Together series. I'd like to acknowledge that Cooperatives First is located on the Treaty 6 territory, territory of the Cree, Dakota, Dene, and homeland of the Métis. I am Trista Piopiskanias, the Indigenous Relations Lead here at Cooperatives First, and I have Kyle White, our governance and education lead, here with me today. And we're proud to have Tommy Kerrivan from My Jasper Wedding attending, and he will be giving us an overview of their cooperative. So I do have a short presentation that I will be going over. And I'm sorry, my okay, so can everybody see my okay?
Good to go.
Okay, so today's presentation is small business collaborations. So working as a consultant, both with Cooperative Source and prior, I have experience in writing marketing plans, business plans for entrepreneurs. I've also sat on nonprofit organizations and working in a number of small businesses. So I have been given a glimpse into just a little part of what it takes to be an entrepreneur and work the interworkings of a small business. So I understand that as a small business owner, it can be stressful and very resource intensive. So not only dealing with the goal of your business and your mission, but there are so many other tasks and responsibilities left for you to deal with, such as bookkeeping, human resource, marketing, competition, and also like keeping your customers happy. Like that's one of the biggest things. So today's presentation will be going over just some ways to alleviate some of those issues for small businesses. So when do small businesses form co-ops? Co-ops work where people want to work together, share costs, and sometimes labor to access new markets, working together for a common goal while keeping your business entities separate. Sometimes it's created to meet the needs of members and also creating a one-stop shop for your customers. So it's easier for the customers to get more benefit from different organizations and businesses. So the co-op model is a member, the members are the owners of co-ops. It is user focused, so the more the member uses the co-op, the more benefits they receive. And as in any other co-op, it's each member gets one vote in the decision making of the co-op. So co-ops fit where when nations, independent producers, and individuals see opportunities by working together, sharing costs and resources, and being able to create more opportunities and compete in a larger space. Co-ops also fit where big businesses and governments are not do not support the outcomes or like where the small businesses need. So working together and doing it themselves. And it will benefit people individually as well as community-wide, because the more people involved, the more it benefits of not just individuals, but community resources. So some of the benefits of working in a cooperative is it's very collaborative. It can be versatile. So the members of the co-op can work as much or as little or in whatever structure they see fit. So it is, and there's a sense of transparency. So if you're working with a cooperative and as the members are the owners, they all get to see what's going on, financial information, instead of relying on one individual person or organization. All of the owners get a say. It can help reach new markets, different ways of branding. There's monetary benefits and savings. And once working within a cooperative, the competition actually become your allies. Instead of competing for competing for customers, you're actually working with your competitors to gain and share some of those benefits. Education. We've heard from numerous cooperatives that learning off each other, creating efficiencies is one of the biggest benefits of creating a cooperative. And it makes it easier for customers. So getting a package instead of shopping around for individual pricing actually saves the customer's time, and it's easier for the customers to use. So some ways that co-ops have been structured for small businesses is supply cooperatives. So working together for procurement opportunities or bulk purchasing has been used. Worker co-ops, they can all, the small businesses or businesses can work together as workers, all receiving portions of the larger contract, or they can simply use the co-op as a marketing co-op in order to market or reach new customers. So I will go over two examples, quick examples of some small business collaborations that have been used in the co-op structure. So the first one is the back office cooperative. This one is out of Chicago, Illinois, and it was founded in 2008. And it was formed to create scale in purchasing for nonprofit organizations, and they have group purchase programs. So they have, I'll highlight kind of two programs that they do have. One is called the Workplace Essentials. And this is it saves their members time and money on office supplies, janitorial supplies, IT and technology, furniture, and printing. So all of these small independent nonprofit organizations come together and in this cooperative, and then they do the bulk purchasing. And they also have a medical billing program for their members to to help with the businesses submit claims, reduce overhead costs for these medical claims, and making sure that all of the members that are using these are complicit with like federal and state laws and regulations. The second example we have is the Renew Development Cooperative. The Renew Development Cooperative was based out of Saskatoon. It is no longer in operation, but it consisted of small and local trade companies. So there were 9 members of 7 different companies in the construction industry that worked and did general contracting, framing, electrical work, carpentry, flooring, and windows. And they were formed to undertake complex projects. And by saving time and money and being able to bid on these larger projects, they were able to review each other's bids. And once the project was on going forward, they were actually able to review each other's work and making sure that it was the best work for the customer. So they were, instead of somebody who's building a house, that instead of hiring 7 different companies, they were able to hire the one cooperative and have all of the suppliers in one spot. So they were able to get 7 individual companies to come together to work. And in order to work together, they did charge a $2,000 purchase into the co-op, and they were able to create different communication methods to how they could work together. And although they did have formal meetings, they were able, because they worked together, they were able to discuss most of their business, through lunch or emails, and they devised a way to create the bylaws to have a 75% agreement in making decisions. So it didn't have to be a full 100% consensus, but the majority of the members had to agree. So yeah, this is the Renew Development Co-op that was formed in Saskatoon. So that was kind of my quick presentation into small business collaborations. So those are 2 examples of how small businesses can work together. And I am really excited today. I wanted to spend some time and thankful that we have Tommy Kerrivan from My Jasper Wedding. And this is a new cooperative out of Jasper. My Jasper Wedding is a team of talented local experts who work together to deliver exceptional Rocky Mountain weddings. They combine their talents as event planners, makeup artists, and so much more to create one kick-ass wedding cooperative. So with My Jasper Wedding, you get a unique blend of big city professionalism, small town hospitality, and home turf acumen. You get everything you could possibly need in one spot. So thank you, Tommy, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. So just to give you a little about Jasper. Jasper is a pretty busy place for weddings. Town, we probably see, I think it's like 130 to 170 weddings a year that come to Jasper. and they could start off as a small elopement or just the full meal deal. Have your typical wedding, dream wedding, you want to call it. So we have a bunch of local vendors here, and we're finding that a lot of people were bringing in, let's say, some vendors from out of town. So they would come in and they would do their services here. They weren't all bad. They were quite good vendors, but we were trying to look after our local business here, support. So we gotta get our groceries here and support our community. So we found that with the for instance, so I have a DJ company and an audio company. So I would be to a wedding, and they would have a photographer that would come in from the city. And the photographer wasn't really familiar with Jasper. So they would ask all these questions. Oh, where can we go for some photos after dinner, or this kind of stuff? Realistically, you could pull on the side of the road in Jasper or take a photo anywhere, because it's going to look pretty no matter what, because you're in the mountains. So anyway, we were talking about this for years, like probably within the last 10 years, and we never ever did anything about it. And now we're a co-op. We got together and we started. So that's pretty much how it started and stuff like that. So pretty much Trista did pretty much our description of who we are. So we're a bunch of local vendors here, and we want to provide almost like a one-stop shop, but we don't want to give it that one-stop shop feel, like a low discount type of service. But we want to make it as easy as possible for our brides and grooms when getting married. So it definitely helps out, like being all together, and we're all pretty good friends here. We're in a small town, it's like 5,000 people here, so we pretty much know everybody here. And this co-op that we formed made us even closer knit. We chat a lot more, and meet up, have meetings and coffee and that kind of stuff. So we just discuss what's going on, and yeah, that's the first part. So this is my first presentation ever, so please bear with me. Tristan says she'll take me by the hand there, so if I start to stumble. So I guess the next part I want to talk about is so why we chose a co-op. So by choosing a co-op, it makes us struggle. Like you covered quite a bit in your presentation, Trista, there earlier. You know what? We're a lot stronger as a group of people, and we market to the world. So as a small business owner, my budget for marketing is not very big. I don't have a huge budget, but as a group of us are together, our funds are a lot more, and we could target these bigger geography right across the country and that kind of stuff. There's a group here in Jasper called Tourism Jasper, and we got when we talked 10 years ago, this is what we were kind of visualizing, doing the same thing. So a lot of hotels, they pay a percentage into the tourism, and what they do, they market around the world. So let's say you have a Fairmont hotel, which has a big budget. Then you have a smaller hotel who has very little budget compared to a Fairmont, let's say, and they join this Tourism Jasper. Now they advertise all over. It's advertised all over the world. Not sure if you see it pop up on YouTube or social media or anything like that, but everybody's on the same playing field now. This small place are getting the same exposure as, let's say, the bigger, which is the biggest hotel here, pretty much. So that's one of the reasons that why we wanted to become a co-op, is for this, in numbers, in strength and stuff like that. Any questions about that?
Yeah, if you're happy to take questions now, I'm interested in how the allocation of funds works. So when you have someone big like Fairmont and a very small player with different marketing budgets, I'm assuming they contribute a different amount to the group fund potentially, and then how does that affect what they then get in return?
Okay, so regarding the Tourism Jasper, so this is not with what I'm, or for My
Sure.
Jasper Wedding,
Yeah,
but
right.
Tourism Jasper, they have a levy or an extra fee. So I think it's 2% of sales. So
Gotcha.
Fairmont will have 2% of their sales. The little mom and pop place will have 2% of their sales, and whatever your 2% is, that goes into the kitty, I guess, and that's how they. But everyone, so Fairmont and the mom and pop, they have one vote for this, and it's the same. So it's not because we generate way more money. It's all on the same. This is how they do it. And these guys are not a co-op, of course. It's a Tourism Jasper,
Yeah.
which is a part of the Alberta tourism as well. But for My Jasper Wedding, what we've done, and I was listening to you, Trista, there about you're saying that contracting company, they had a buy-in of $2,000. Was that for, or is that just for the buy-in, initial buy-in?
That was the buy-in.
The buy-in, okay. So the way we decided to run our co-op, yearly fee, and our fee is $500 a year, and that money goes into the co-op and helps with marketing and in daily expenses that we would have. But we also sell back to the co-op. So for instance, let's say my service is $1,000. So I would discount a percentage, which is, I think we do 3.5%, and that goes back into the co-op. So once they book through my Jasper Wedding, let's say they book everything, then my bill is $1,000 less 3.5%, which goes back into the company or to the co-op, which helps out. And then we also charge to our client, we would charge a 10% service fee, which helps cover, to build our bank up and stuff like that. Now, at the end, it's not going to happen right away for us because we're brand new. But at the end, we hope we would be receiving like a dividends at the end. So at the end of each year, let's say we're doing, $1 million worth of business a year, and then our companies would get back, a little a dividends check, if you want to call it that. That's still fairly new for us. So I think we're maybe a year away or a couple of years away for that. But the big thing for us, it is networking with each other, being on top of everything, and we're all of us that are in this co-op have been in this for a long time. So we consider ourselves to be professionals. We had some people that wanted to join in that would just start their business like 4 months ago, and we had to draw the line and say, well, we don't want you to build your business right here with us. We want, we have a certain level that we want to pertain and go from there, right? What else can I tell you? Did I answer your question? Maybe I rambled on for a little bit longer, but
no, that was yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead. Oh, thumbs up there. Okay, I thought you had your hand up there for a second.
Oh.
The other thing, so basically, for me personally, I have a DJ company. So all my business is with people, and with this pandemic, business was non-existent completely last year. That being said, I kind of expanded a little bit and did some, try to reinvent the wheel a little bit just to get by and stuff like that, which helped out quite a bit. And then with this co-op, during COVID, this is when we built the co-op during COVID, because we all had this extra time in our hands. So we worked with the ACCA, which is the Alberta Community Co-op Association of Alberta, and they took us by the hand and they helped us out tremendously. So it was huge benefit having those guys to give us a hand. I can't imagine if we did it by ourselves. So anyhow, yeah, that's that. It's definitely helping our business. People are talking about it a little bit more now in the community. Our target is mostly Edmonton and surrounding areas, Alberta, northern Alberta, and some stuff in southern Alberta, and also in BC. Yeah, so we're loving it so far. It's still growing, of course, right? So it doesn't happen overnight, but we're definitely making progress.
I have another question if we have time.
Thank you.
So I'm curious how your clients interact with the co-op. Is it when you sort of talk about this one-stop shop type situation, do you present as a package, as a full service suite that you know, as individual members contribute a quote, but then that quote is packaged up as one, you know, package or one payment to the client? Or
Right.
is it, yeah, maybe you can explain how that works.
So with our co-op, they would contact, I'm going to send you guys a link.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's our website right there, just so you could have in the future. If you guys want to, so let's say you're getting married and you're not sure what you want to do. So what we would do is we would ask, we have we'll consult with our Jordan, who's our go-to person, and he will look after dealing with the client. So they would say, you know what, we're getting married at the Fairmont. We want flowers. We want a DJ. We want to have photographers, videographer, etc., etc. So he would go, and we have like I think there's like 4 or 5 different photographers that we have there, and other things like that. You know, florists and bakeries for cakes and stuff. So he would customize each package. So he'll say, here's package that you asked for. They'll look at all vendors. They'll go through their personal website and say, you know what, this is not really what we're looking for. Then he'll suggest another one, or he'll say, here, look at these guys here if you want. And then once they figure out what they want, he would bill everything himself as one bill, and then present that to the client. So then the client would, if they decide they want to take it, they would have pay a retainer or a deposit, and then he would be the contact person through all of us. So they said, let's say for the DJ, oh, we want to have, this is our first song of the night type of thing, and whatever. So that go through Jordan. Sometimes they come to us directly just because it's a little bit easier. But yeah, it will be one big bill. We want to say big bill, one bill. And it just makes it easier for our clients. They just jump in there, and instead of saying, oh my goodness. And a lot of people, again, everyone that gets married here are not from Jasper. So they have no idea. Like, okay, well, we're so panicky. We're so nervous and stressed out. And I always tell, even before we had My Jasper Wedding, I always told our clients and said, you know what, you're dealing with this hotel here. They do this all the time, and everyone just like we do it. This is what we do, and everybody, everything just falls into place. And then when the wedding's done, they say to me when I do a little call back after, you know what, it was easy. Like, wow. So basically, we could almost say, yeah, we need a co-op. Yeah, we do need a co-op because we want to have that big, take it to the next level, pretty much, right? So. And
did that fellow Jordan, is he a wedding planner? Does he have a business, or is he?
Jordan, yeah, Jordan's the owner of My Jasper Events.
Right.
And I worked with Jordan for probably 15 years. He was a wedding coordinator at one of the hotels here in Jasper. So he left there probably 5 years ago. And he started My Jasper, or Jasper Events. So we work quite a lot together, and again, then COVID comes along, we get in contact with the ACCA, and we started up a co-op. We weren't planning on starting a co-op at first, to be honest with you. We were just looking at like a consortium of some sort, and the co-op just kind of landed in our lap, and it's awesome. Like, it's really good. Like, we had such a good team of people working with us as well as to get us started, and made a big difference, like big difference. So are you all guys, are you guys in Saskatchewan or anyone in Alberta, or?
Yeah, I'm in Canmore, so
Oh,
very
perfect.
very
Oh,
similar town. Just
okay.
further south.
Right on. Awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we're, it's been a very good experience for us, learning experience, and it's getting better and better. So
Can I ask you why do you think, so you said you thought of like a consortium or a collaborative. What is it? Why do you, like, if you look back now about what that might have looked like compared to a co-op, what do you get out of the co-op model that you think maybe wouldn't have gotten as the consortium?
well, right off the bat, we wouldn't have all these experts help us to get us started. And we learned so much. We took this governance course, and like eye-opening, and we had someone take us by the hand pretty much. Even though we've been doing this for a number of years as individuals, but as a group. And then of course, there's a structure for us to go by, like a template to go by, which definitely helped out. Like, I really can't imagine if we went the other route. I'm sure it would be fine, but it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be talking to you today, pretty much, if that was the case. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it would be hard to organize just a bunch of diverse individuals, right? Like, it'd be hard to give yourself a structure, like you say.
Yeah, and the structure is a big thing. Like, our guidelines to go by, and we got incorporated. We have our bylaws written. That took a lot of work. So and then by doing all that stuff, it just gives you it gives you more of an idea of what's going on, and knowing what to expect and what to do.
Can I ask you, do you have, so on your website, when it says like book a consultation or whatever, and you said your guy from Jasper Events is the guy who calls them back.
Yeah.
Is he considered to be like an employee of the co-op, or does he get paid for his services in some way?
He is, I don't want to say a volunteer, but once the wedding is booked, so right now it's a free consultation, right? So once the wedding is booked, then we bill, and his services are included. So wedding consultation, your DJ, your florist. We don't deal with the hotels, so the hotels are not a member of our co-op. It's just the vendors. So the hotels have our information, and they're really, really happy about this because they all worked with us before, and they just pass along, well, check out My Jasper Wedding. And then, but they also have our businesses listed as well, because we're preferred vendors. So it's, people are going back and forth. They always think it's going to be so much more, and if by going through, let's say, My Jasper Wedding, but it's really not. It's a convenience, instead of you doing all the work. Right. So again, the biggest benefit for us would be the bud marketing and stuff. Like, we're reaching we have a target where we want to reach, and it just goes everywhere pretty much. And you'll get inquiries, and everyone that contacts me personally, my business, I respond to them, yes, if we're available, Then I also, for more information, this might be something worth looking at. Check out My Jasper Wedding. To give you some ideas if you're concerned about anything, trying to organize a wedding from, let's say, from Edmonton or from wherever.
I found it interesting that you mentioned that you have a few different photographers
Yes.
within the co-op. Are there other vendors that there are a few different options for clients?
Yeah, so we have two, again, Jasper's small like Canmore. So we have two bakeries here that does cakes. We have, I think it's six photographers. We have a bunch of commissioners, wedding commissioners as well. The DJs, there's one, which is me. I kind of hope we have some more because it'll take a little bit of pressure off me. And yeah, so if you look at our website, I'm just going to bring it up here quickly. Have you guys had a look at the website yet?
Put it up here, yeah.
So for us, we had a web designer come in and design our website for us. We also had, we hired, what's the proper word? That wrote our story for us. So we gave they interviewed each person, and then they're a writer. They wrote our website. So if you look at, like, this is not my writing, of course, right? So they would look at what's written down there, and they just, creative writing, I guess. So, we took all this. Now we're working on our SEO. So when people are doing like a Google search or anything like that. But if you look at the website and go under services.
I guess the reason I ask, Thomas, is I'm curious as to how it then works within the co-op in terms of who is the vendor suggested by Jordan, say, or how it works amongst those kind of competing vendors within the co-op.
Yeah, no, good question. They have the opportunity to look at all the photographers there, so everyone has their own website. So they'll point them to the website, and they'll say, this is more of our style that we like, type of thing. And so it's not like it's like no favoritism, of course, right?
Right.
So you have A, B, C, D, E, and say where this is, and also each photographer has a different budget, right? So different price point.
Mm-hmm.
That plays a little bit as well. Yeah, so it's spread out quite evenly, and there's full disclosure of what's going on. So like, that's one of our photographers, a few of our photographers, they spoke about that. They brought that up as a concern. So, well, not saying you'll suggest this person. So how do we split it up evenly? So they just present, here's your options we have, and they're all different styles, right? So it kind of makes it a little bit easier, and then they look prices, of course, and so fortunately for the DJ part of it, I don't have that problem. So. Not yet, anyway.
And how is the co-op open to taking in new vendors?
Yeah, vendors are welcome. There's a process, so we would vote. We have a meeting if who wants to get in. We do have some prerequisites, like you have to be established, and again, we take pride in what we do, and we want to make sure that we have, let's say if let's say we bring in somebody else and we don't really know their work, and then all of a sudden they may mess up or something that will give us a bad name, and which we don't want, or bring down the co-op, right? So it's again, being in Jasper, such a small place, we definitely, we want to expand as much as we can, but make sure that we have the right people in our co-op anyway. Again, this co-op that we're in, from what I understand, is the first sort of this co-op that's ever, when I was talking to the guys at the ACCA, they said they never ever heard of this before. So they're very interested in looking at, they're, farmers and this kind of stuff, right? So yeah, they were very interested, and I guess maybe they even gave us a little bit of an extra push because they were so curious to see how it's going to work.
And how long ago did you start?
We started pretty much the summer, maybe like June, July. But we were working with the group for probably 6 months prior, 6 or 7 months prior, to get everything started. The biggest thing for us would definitely is the marketing.
Yeah.
Like, I might put an ad in the paper, $200, but we go out and we're doing things everywhere, which I would never do because I couldn't afford to do it,
Yeah. This has been great. Thanks so much for sharing
Hey,
all this,
you're
Thomas.
very welcome.
I work in economic for
Okay.
the town of Canmore,
Okay.
and we have a thriving wedding industry here as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And something like this, I think, would be great for our local vendors, because same thing. I also administer the business registry, and I get so many business license applications for out of town photographers, especially.
Yeah.
Coming in to shoot these weddings, and then every now and then I approve a license, and they say, "Hey, can you give me any tips for somewhere great to go?" And it kills me. I'm like, I want. There are so many great photographers here who know the landscape, and anyway, so this is fantastic. Some really great ideas.
Feel free to reach out to us if you want to.
I will. I definitely will.
To be honest, Jordan was supposed to be doing this, but Jordan had to go back east.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say I got roped into it. I said, I'll help out for sure.
Well, you've given us lots of great information, Tom. Thanks
for
a
sure.
lot.
And look at the website's pretty helpful. It's pretty generic, but we don't want to give away to all our vendors and stuff like that. But it's if you're doing it like a co-op like this, definitely reach out to the ACC, the Alberta Community Co-op Association. The person that I spoke with, again, I can send you this information as well down the road if you want to get it. His name is Seth Leon. He was awesome. He was so good. He was our go-to person.
Well, is there any other questions for Tommy today? Do you have any advice?
I love hearing about your co-op. Thanks for telling us about it. It's really cool.
I didn't catch all that, but I heard it was very cool at the end.
You might be better if that was a question, maybe type it in the chat.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Yeah, so yeah, I was just gonna say, like, what was one of your I think you mentioned that like the competition, like just within the competing photographers, was there any other considerations that you guys had to make, or like how did you deal with starting the co-op?
We had the problem as we were having in Canmore. We had people come and they wouldn't have a business license. So, for example, I went to Fort McMurray for a show there back in 2005, and we had an agent in Edmonton at the time, which I still deal with. And so she booked all this. They saw me perform at the Fairmont back in the day, and they wanted me to go up. They had it was Syncrude, I believe it was. They wanted to do some kind of thing for their employees. So as I was driving up to Fort McMurray, I got a phone call from my agent saying, do you have a business license? It's like, yeah, I have a business license. For Fort McMurray? I said, no, I don't have one for Fort McMurray. So anyway, so someone complained about it. But I was halfway there, so I couldn't do anything, and it was on a Friday. So by the time I got through, it would have been too late. So they charged, this is in 2005, the business license for an out-of-town person was $500. And that was for one address for a year. So if I was there and I was doing in this room here or this building, it's for $500. The next night, if I was going to go across the street to another hotel or something like that, it's another business license, $500. So for me, that kind of like, it was kind of really bothered me at the time. But I understand they're protecting their local business and in their community and stuff like that. Here in Jasper, our business license, you need 2 business licenses in Jasper. We have one through the municipality, $165 for a year. And if you're an out-of-town business, $165, exact same thing. If you're outside the park, if you're outside the town limits, or you need a license through parks, and that's like $60. So anyhow, what I was trying to get to is we had people were coming in and this, oh yeah, they would do their work here, they would make their money back to wherever they're from, and none of that money would stay in our community. And you know, I don't understand, we're trying to control who does business in Jasper. Just we want to protect that, you know, people that live here and work here. So how do you find it in Canmore? Is it the same thing? You have a lot of people in the Canmore like without licenses?
I don't tend to hear too much about it.
Okay.
You know, I see the applications for those who apply,
Okay.
but you know, I'm sure that there would be people who fly under the radar and don't reach out to us.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't get too many calls from businesses, you know, giving tip-offs about that going on.
Right.
We have a similarly much more expensive fee for outside of the area businesses, but it's attached to their business address, not where they're performing the business here in town.
Okay.
So they only need the one, unlike what you're talking about in Fort McMurray there. That sounds pretty gouging to me, to need a license for every venue that you're going to.
Are you familiar with the price of a business license in Banff is?
I'm not actually, no.
So I had a call to go to the Fairmont in Banff for a function. It was a conference, and the business license for Banff for me, for a DJ company, was $863 for the year.
Yeah.
I didn't go. So I didn't go to Banff. Stayed in Jasper.
Do they offer more temporary licenses?
Or is it at only the time, I don't think they did. But I believe the reason the license was so expensive, because it also part of it or a portion of it went to the tourism sector down there, or the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, they have a similar levy like what you're talking about, but every business pays into it. Every single business, not just.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'd like to thank you once again for attending and sharing your knowledge.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, I've learned a lot, and I really would encourage anybody who's in small, like wanting to work together, creating opportunities, sharing costs and resources, to look into forming a co-op. You can reach out to Cooperatives first. We do help, and we do know Seth. So Seth is a great ally. So really glad that you had a good experience with him. Like he's a great person to have on your side. So I'm glad that you guys have been set up and found this new opportunity of being able to work together and organize. So thank you once again.
You're very welcome.